Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features the Invincible Iron Man issue number 2, cover dated December 1996. So this is Heroes Reborn Iron Man. The cover is by Whilce Portacio, inked by Scott Williams, and it features Hulk looming over a crushed figure of the new Iron Man, or at least the armor is new. So it's a pretty interesting cover design where we're mostly seeing Hulk's back muscles, massive lats and shoulder muscles there. And one interesting feature here is, what is he wearing there? Is it brown shorts that he's wearing, or trousers? Well, he's not wearing anything inside the comic. He's butt naked, let's put it that way. But it seems that editorial found that a bit too much. And so it was editorially mandated that in the colours at least, he'd be wearing some brown pants. So, putting that to one side, let's open this one up and get right into the story. So we start with a splash page. That's a very cool image there of Iron Man in the new designed armour. I mentioned in my review of issue number 1, I think that looks brand spanking new, as much in 1996 as it would do today if that were Iron Man's armor today in 2025. And he asks, is there a problem here? And the digital coloring looks pretty good on this particular splash page as well. The first issue was double sized, 44 pages. This second issue is normal size, 22 pages of story and art. But what we get is a knockdown, drag out fight between Iron Man and Hulk. And that's kind of what we would have wanted in issue number 1. A problem with the Jim Lee stable of Heroes Reborn titles Fantastic Four and Iron Man number 1 is that there is a lot of intrigue, a lot of build up to getting the characters in their costumes, and not much in the way of fights or fireworks in the first issues. But that's remedied very particularly here in issue number 2 of Iron Man. So let's continue with this. You can see we got a double page spread there of the Hulk. He's got Liz Ross in his gigantic hand, and look at the way that his hair there is flowing as he moves forward towards Iron Man. So just 2 panels on this page as well. That's Portacio really maximizing the space for the art. And here the Hulk says in reply to Iron Man's question, big problem, your problem, Iron Man. Liz's friend came back to help Liz. So this is the Hulk with a vestigial memory coming over from the Bruce Banner psyche, but he sees Bruce Banner as separate from himself, as we'll learn as we go through this particular issue and learn about this iteration of the Hulk. So Iron Man comes back to him and says, came back, does that mean you've been here to Stark International before? I'm sure I would have remembered a big green tinted strapping Hulk like you on the payroll. For that matter, where are you coming back from? So the Hulk's listening now. He says, you called me Hulk? And then he adopts instantly the name for himself. Hulk doesn't know where he comes from, doesn't know where he's going. He only knows Hulk goes where he wants, and anyone who gets in Hulk's way, Hulk smashes. So he really adopts the name, as you can see by repetition. So here we turn around and get an upshot of Iron Man. I'm always impressed by a man with a plan here, Hulk, he says. But Liz Ross is head of security here at Stark Industries. It's against company policy to let great green Goliaths gallop off with employees. And I'm sure you can appreciate where I'm coming from on this. Now, if you'll just put her down and go, we can call it a night. But of course, there isn't going to be a meeting of minds. So let's continue here. So Iron Man uses his arm, the powers afforded him by his suit. But you can see here, interestingly, that Portacio has reproduced this image here for this particular panel, so saving time on this particular page, not redrawing the Hulk. And Iron Man is thinking to himself, dear God, look at these readings. This Hulk is a walking toxic waste dump of radiation, gamma radiation. So he's intrigued by that, the information he's getting from the readout here. So what do you say, pal? He asks Hulk, and Hulk responds, Hulk is not Iron Man's pal. Hulk says no, really shouting there. Look at the huge, thick neck muscles that Portacio has given him. And his shout is so forceful, it knocks Iron Man clear through 3 walls. Got it, he says. Now, I've pointed out before how Portacio is not afraid of using negative space on the page as part of a type of design element. So sometimes the colorist will leave it white, but in other cases, as you can see on this page, the colorist will color in for the background, as you can see here. Now, this is Jasper Sitwell hiding behind a column here and observing Iron Man. He is on the lookout for Tony Stark. He accompanied him up to the Buffalo Stark Industries complex, and there is something suspicious about him. So let's get into his thought balloons there and see what he's thinking. I feel like I've walked in on the second reel of a movie, he thinks. I only allowed Tony Stark to accompany me here because I believed this Buffalo annex to be relatively secured. Clearly that's not the case between Hulk and the Man in Armour. I may have accidentally walked Stark into the middle of a war zone. The sooner I find him and get out of here, the safer he'll be. So it seems he's concerned for Stark's welfare and well-being, but he does not know that Stark is the man in the Iron Man armour. So Iron Man continues, saying to the Hulk, if your goal was to irritate me, Hulk, you've succeeded. Let's end this before one of us, as in you, gets hurt. So Hulk isn't going to give up at all. He's smashing through the walls there, the debris, to get at Iron Man, and he's still got Liz in his right hand. Hulk did not start this. He exclaims, the bomb made Hulk. Hulk did not make bomb. Now that Hulk has Liz, we will find the snake with heads and make them pay. So that's a reference to Hydra. Hydra infiltrated the Buffalo annex, and they're the ones that set off the gamma bomb. And it was Bruce Banner who sacrificed himself, as he believed, by taking the bomb 13 miles down into the Earth's crust in order to prevent people from being killed. I have it on good authority, says Iron Man, as he holds up his hand with the repulsor ray ready to roll. I have it on good authority that this entire complex was all but empty up until an hour ago. There was no Hulk, no bomb, and certainly no snake with heads. But we can talk about all of this after you regain consciousness. So Hulk just laughs at that. You're going to stop Hulk with your hand? Something like that, and whoomph. There is the repulsor ray, the famous one. And that's a great upshot 3/4 profile of the Hulk there, recoiling from the blast of the repulsor ray. Let's get past the advertisements, continue with the story. You can see the pace is pretty speedy here for the opening. Hulk Smash is appropriately enough the title of this particular issue's story. Creative team there under the title Scott Lobdell and Jim Lee. Story Whilce Portacio pencils. Now that's interesting, by the way. Scott Lobdell and Jim Lee credited with story. So unlike Fantastic Four, where Jim Lee is the plotter and Brandon Choi the scripter, both Lobdell and Lee getting story credit here, but Lobdell obviously supplying the words. The inks are by Scott Williams and JD, that's John Dickenson. Joe Chodo and Martin Jimenez on colours, Wildstorm Effects on the digital colours. Rich Starkings and Dave Lanfair of Comic Craft on the digital letterings, and that's our creative team. Look at the face there on Hulk, it's kind of amusing. He looks sort of happy in his unconscious state. Meanwhile, Tony's thinking to himself, I should never have left the party, the one he left in issue number 1. 1 minute I'm celebrating my acquittal in New York City as Tony Stark billionaire. The next thing I know, I'm upstate trapped in this Prometheum armor in order to keep my heart beating and slugging it out with this monster, because he took some shrapnel in a helicopter crash in the previous issue, and that's why he's in the armor, keeping him alive to prevent the shrapnel from getting to his heart. And then Liz comes to and asks Iron Man who he is. So he's got an opportunity here to tell her that it's him, Tony Stark, And he decides, no, I am Iron Man, Ms. Ross. I work for, pause, Mr. Stark. So he's made a decision, a split decision, to hide his identity within the armor. So Liz there responds, not without a security clearance. You don't, because she is Stark's chief security officer, and he's able to give her the code, the one that only Stark has. So Iron Man responds, we're close. Apparently, she replies, at least you're not one of them. So she explains about Hydra, the terrorists who raided the place. So it's all catch up for Stark and for any readers who missed issue number 1. And what about Dr. Banner? He died trying to disarm the bomb before it exploded, explains Liz. So Stark there thinking that Bruce is dead, and Jasper Sitwell listening, not revealing himself just yet. Something suspicious about him. This is bad, he thinks. It took years to gain Stark's trust, so he'd give me complete run of his corporate empire. Bad enough Ross is still alive. The last thing I need is for this Iron Man around to upset things. So we don't know what all of this is about. We're just being fed this information concerning Sitwell, that he's some kind of potential bad actor in relation to Stark Industries. But we're figuring it out issue to issue. Hulk's waking up there, little grin on his face as well, tapping on the ground. And let's continue. So we're going to return to the fight. He's lifting up a huge hunk of rock there and knocking Iron Man with it. Hulk has made up his mind. Hulk doesn't like Iron Man. So then Sitwell is in the shadows. This gets more interesting by the moment, he thinks. Only I don't have the time to solve any of the mysteries surrounding those two. Last time I saw Stark, his chest was full of shrapnel, and I was too banged up from the helicopter crash to help him. As government liaison to Stark International, my priority is finding Tony, even if it's just his corpse. And he doesn't look too cut up about the prospect of finding the corpse, if that indeed is what has happened to Tony from his perspective. And you can see the shadowing of his face there, which really sells us on the fact that there's something shady about Jasper Sitwell in the Heroes Reborn universe. But back to the fight, and that's primarily what we're paying in for back in late 1996. And here we go. So interesting layouts here on these pages. Iron Man is smart to run from Hulk, says Hulk. And Iron Man responds, being smart is actually my second best asset. But what's Tony thinking to himself in the armor? I'm actually just trying to lure him outside the plant, away from Ross and Sitwell, but no need to tell him that. So this is an interesting perspective here on Hulk's bunched fist. What is your first thing you do best? This. So he's using the repulsor rays again with the hand. Hulk can't make punch land on Iron Man. So those repulsors are strong. Iron Man here saying, the first time I hit you with a hardcore repulsor blast. This is just a low-grade force field. And why? Why doesn't he hit him with a full-grade a hardcore blast? Don't dare push the armor too far, he thinks. Not after what happened to Rebel during the flight test of the original Prometheum armor. So we saw that in the opening prologue of issue number 1. So the fight continues back and forth. It looks like Iron Man is getting the better of Hulk here. He says to Hulk, I'm not looking to hurt you unless I learn you have something to do with whatever happened to a friend of mine named Bruce Banner. So what will Hulk say to that? Banner, he says with some bemusement. Hulk knows who Banner is. Hulk hates Banner. So unaware that they are the same, they share the same body, might be the best way to put it. Assuming I believe you, that's reassuring, says Iron Man. But just this very moment, we're hovering directly over Niagara Falls. Because of course, north of Buffalo, New York, there is Niagara Falls. So there we go, that's where they are. What a scenic location for some impending violence. which means right now might not be the best time to discuss it. And Iron Man thinks to himself, Tony thinks to himself, I suppose I could just fly away, but I'm not sure this thing could survive the fall. So in the first issue, Tony was characterized as being, not having a heart, being, like, figuratively speaking, being emotionally cold and uncaring about his workers, about anyone. But now he's concerned about the life of this creature, this monster that he's just met. Something's happened. He's had some kind of conversion. He's becoming a hero, and he's using the fact that no one knows he's in the armor to act differently. That's very intriguing. That's interesting. So Hulk is pounding away on Iron Man's back there. Hulk will not be saved by a friend of Banner. That's kind of amusing. And Tony's thinking, then again, I'm not sure I'll be able to survive up here after what happened with Rebel. I canned this armor. It's never been tested. If the Hulk keeps pounding on it, if it shorts as a result, the armor dies and I die with it. So, he could just drop the Hulk and fly away, and he chooses not to do that. So that really is ramping up the heroism. So there's a helicopter behind the Hulk there. And Hulk says Hulk hates loud birds and their dumb lights. Hulk already smashed one. And let's see, at that moment in the Westchester County apartment of the recently unemployed Pepper Potts, so she was fired by Tony in the previous issue. This is Laura Bleckner for CNN News. So it's a news helicopter, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at. So we see there the shot of Hulk and Iron Man above the falls. So Pepper recognizes, or rather wonders about Mr. Stark. It's got to be him, but how? Why? So she's of the opinion that it's Stark in the Iron Man armor. There are enough rocks here to smash another, says Hulk as he throws a rock towards the news helicopter. And Iron Man is aghast. In something slightly faster than the speed of thought, the third person narration declares, Iron Man is airborne almost before the hurled boulder itself. 100 options raced through his mind in a fraction of the time it takes to tell. Repulsor blast? The updraft would hammer the copter. Chest laser? Too risky. Some debris might make it through. In the moment before impact, he decides. That decision is instantly translated into action. So he uses the suit's tractor beam, yanking the helicopter out of the line of fire. Insane, but it worked. So that's intriguing. We're getting to learn the capabilities of the suit of armor, and the fact that Iron Man is thinking, Tony Stark in the armor is thinking strategically on how to use it in order to get maximum result and least damage. So let's continue with the story. We've got Sitwell. He's making his way through the Buffalo Annex, following a trail of blood from Tony Stark in the previous issue. And he's wondering, where's the body, because the trail of blood stops cold. Suddenly there's a gun at his temple, and who is it? It's Liz. And she talks about Hydra, a little bit of catch up regarding Bruce dying to stop Hydra, and Sitwell there with a little grin on his side profile, and again in shadow. That is unfortunate, he says, but I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to fill me in on the details later. Our priority right now is finding Mr. Stark. So Liz doesn't know that Tony came up there. And then we're back with Hulk and Iron Man. And this is basically our cover concept. It's this moment, but from a different angle, looking down on Hulk. You can see he's got his hand keeping Iron Man smashed into the ground. So it's this moment, more or less, for the cover. And you can see very clearly he's not wearing any brown pants there. So Hulk saying to Iron Man, this time stay down. And Iron Man saying, think I can handle that. So he's really buried in the concrete there. Hard part will be getting up, Tony thinks. The beating I've been taking has seriously depleted energy supply, which means, Tony, it's either improvise soon or die. And of course, there's an electric cable here, spitzing right beside him, so that's a bit convenient. Look at all the work here on the muscles on Hulk's massive pumped out anatomy. Very, very well done work by Portacio. And is it Scott Williams inking this page or John Dickenson? Hard to know. Look at this page, 2 panels only. Again, a very designy use of the negative space. Hulk smiling here. He's got a very square chin, and saying to Iron Man, you thought you were better than Hulk. You thought Hulk was stupid, that you could use Hulk like everyone used Banner, like Stark used him worst. But now you know. So how does Hulk know that? He's not twigging to the fact that he shares a body with Bruce Banner, and that he's an offshoot of Banner's psyche. But now you know. Soon everyone will know. Soon whole world will know to be afraid of Hulk. So Iron Man starts to argue with him. No reason to do that, Hulk. Hulk continues there. Wrong again, Iron Man. Hulk has every reason to want to destroy the world. Maybe after Hulk smashes the whole world, Hulk will come back and explain it. That's kind of funny in Scott Lobdell's dialogue there. So the Hulk walking off. Again, nice spotting of blacks. Rendering of the musculature on his arm and back there as well. And then a warning system goes off in the Iron Man armor. And the computer says total system shutdown in 10 seconds. So Tony thinks, that's not the can-do attitude I look for in a computer. Hope this works. So he grabs the spitzing electric cable and he powers up his suit. So it does work. Now, I was kind of thinking to myself that this cover image, which really features the Hulk more than it does a teeny tiny Iron Man there, maybe the moment to turn into the cover is this. I feel this is a better cover idea. It gives more priority to Iron Man. I mean, it is his title after all, rather than the Hulk. So the Hulk is taken by surprise that Iron Man doesn't know when to die, as he puts it. And now we get a big full page image of Iron Man attacking Hulk there. And what is he doing there? It's hard to know. But he's blasting him, electrocuting him maybe. It is, for all intents and purposes, their last exchange. Let's see. Together they fall as Niagara opens wide. So there they are going over the falls into the water below. And there's a power outage. This looks like a self-portrait of Whilce Portacio. See the little teeny tiny pencil moustache that he used to wear at that time. So is this his wife and child? I think it's definitely a self-portrait. So the kid asks what happened to the TV. Then we see Liz and Sitwell. Looks like the entire grid was shut down, says Sitwell, which means not only are we out of power, but the entire seaboard just went dark. How could that be from just one electric cable? That doesn't make sense. And down the entire seaboard, there is a little hospital room scene with a nurse asking, "Doctor, what's going on?" We'll worry about that after we've saved this man's life, Jane. Is that Jane Foster? Is this our heroes reborn, Thor? And there is Hulk and Iron Man in the water below the falls. So they're unconscious. Are they dead? Is the big question. And of course, a very strategic shadowing there of Hulk, a naked Hulk, for the last full page image. So good stuff in this particular comic. Like issue number 2, we got a lot more of the two superheroes, Hulk, Iron Man. We got to see a hell of a lot more of them than in the first issue. There's a lot of action in this one, and Whilce Portacio does an amazing job with the art. Portacio's art always interesting. It's an interesting style, and he comes up with some very interesting perspective angles as well, and layouts too, in his way of working and creating comics, and I like it. So next issue, it's clobbering time, so we know who's going to be guest appearing in the next issue. The Thing. Let's continue. Just some editorial stuff there. Interview with Terry Kavanagh, writer of X-Man. More advertisements there for a series called Code of Honor. The return of the One True Spider-Man. This is the sales figures for Incredible Hulk. So we have, in terms of the print run there, let's see. Could this be, what is this for? Iron Man rather. So you look at the numbers down here, quite low actually. We're looking at numbers like 117,000, 112,000. So that's got to have been pumped up by having the Heroes Reborn event and Whilce Portacio come on board. There you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Heroes Reborn Iron Man issue number 2. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.